It is your instant match reaction for Everton 1, Fulham 1. Somehow we are outside the Denby Castle as ever to reflect on what was a truly awful game of football and a pretty awful Everton performance, but somehow, some way, they have smuggled a point away from that game and they continue their unbeaten run in the Premier League. Joining me at this moment of time, who knows might come and get involved later, are Keith, Mose and Matt. Keith, I will come to you first. We got a point, better score than stoppage time, so we can kind of laugh about that performance a bit now, but my word, for 93 minutes or so, that was truly hideous, wasn't it?
It was insipid. Insipid and apathetic are the only two words I can coin to that performance. It was dreadful. 1 to 11, there was just, from the first minute, there was zero urgency about any of them. They were quite happy. I know Sean Dyche is a counter-attacking manager and he likes to counter-attack, but you're at home to Fulham and we treated them like Man City or Barcelona there and said, right, okay, come at us for the whole 90 minutes and we'll see what we can take from it. Now, fair enough, we took something from it and he might feel justified in that approach, but Jesus Christ, that was a hard watch, wasn't it? I've watched Microsoft PowerPoints that were more fun than that. That was dreadful. I can't honestly think of a highlight from that game where we played well and did good things.
Me and Matt slept on the floor in the park end for 5 hours a couple of weeks ago, and I woke up because all the lights had been turned on at 5:30 in the morning, covered in freezing cold rain, and it was a better experience than that tonight. I remember thinking, jokingly, when we woke up, I've had worse times in the park end, and in my mind I thought, you're just taking the piss. You don't mean that. And I realised leaving the ground tonight that I actually meant it, because that tonight was awful.
What time did your dad wake up? He was still snoring when we left.
I woke him up before we left tonight. The only positive thing I can say about that is that we were absolutely dreadful and didn't get beat. I think Fulham played well. Everton really did not, and we haven't lost a game.
Fulham played that well.
I think there was times in their
Fulham
midfield where I thought, I envy you. When they had, Smith Rowe, dare I say, Alex Iwobi was the best player on the pitch. That midfield three that plays, and I know that Traore is probably past his best now, but they have players who look dangerous, and I think I would usher myself slowly towards the edge of my seat if I was a Fulham fan, and I cannot say that about this Everton team at the moment.
Would you crouch? Would you raise into a bit of a low squat?
An owl. I would occasionally do a short intake breath of excitement, and I couldn't muster one watching Everton at the moment.
That's fair, because it was more than I got today.
And it's hard, and I really hate to say it, but it's hard seeing us even drag goals or points out of this at the moment. I struggle to enjoy what are in our inverted commas finer moments. I think someone must have picked me up by my coat, so I stood up when Beto scored, but it's really it's really difficult to take any form of joy out of this man's Everton.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, we've left today not wanting them all dead, and that's a dramatic improvement on the last 4 years.
Speak for yourself, based on what Mose was saying.
Jessica did play well, to be fair. But yeah, I look at most things about the team on the pitch tonight and the whole team in general at the moment and just think things are not going well, and somehow we are managing to accrue points and we're managing to avoid losses, and for that reason he's probably the luckiest Everton manager of our generation, because he is absolutely dreadful in terms of serving up anything that is briefly called entertainment or worthwhile leisure time, and somehow has no pressure on him because we are managing to accrue points and we have no idea who's in charge of the club and in charge of making the ultimate decision on these things. So 4 more years.
Yeah, it wasn't great, was it? It wasn't great. I thought the first half we weren't too bad. I thought it was well matched in the first half, but they just didn't come out after half time. They just, and just like you said, invited Fulham to run at us and like, go on, see what you can. I mean, if that's going to be your approach, don't take it to the literal extreme and just give them a perfect alleyway for Alex Iwobi to run straight through and just side foot it into the back of the net. That was.
Did he score? Was it him that scored?
Yeah. So I think
That's painful.
of the 11 lads on the pitch, I think Smith Rowe took on 12 of them before he passed it over to Iwobi.
To be fair, I say that because I missed the goal because I was too busy on WhatsApp saying, this is shite, I want to go home.
But like their goal was just so indicative of that second half performance, because the amount of times they just, one of their centre backs, or that Sander Berge, I thought was really good as well. Every time I see him, I think he's a really good player.
Oh, he's crap.
Oh,
he's so bad.
He absolutely ran the game
He's a
today.
big fat lump.
He absolutely ran the game today. I mean, I don't know what that says about us, but the amount of times he got it, one of our players ran towards him, half-arsed. They played a little 1-2, and like they played a little ball around the corner, and then it was Smith Rowe or Iwobi driving at the back four, and we were like, it was panic stations. And I think in the second half, ultimately, what lets us off is that they get in that position about 5 or 6 times, and they pick the wrong pass or they skew the shot, and it just keeps us in the game to the point where we can get that goal late on. But the amount of times Keith used to watch us and go, these lads have got no idea what to do with the football, and like that's mad to say about. I mean, to get to this level of playing in the Premier League, you've got to be elite, you've got to be technically fantastic, you've got to be smart, and you watch us sometimes and think,
or have a good agent.
You just watch us sometimes and think, like, I know this is very cliche and very dar, but like, you think, what did he work on in the week? Is it just like let's win a free kick like this way, and then we might score from that? Because like in open play, like patterns of play, getting the ball into midfield, finding little gaps to pick the ball up and run through at the opposition. There's absolutely none of that. It just feels so all off the cuff and reactive, and for large parts, pretty much the entirety of the game, we were completely snuffed out today.
Genuinely, looking at the injury record this season, I think training is essentially they rock up at Finch Farm, have a bacon butty, and then have a 2-hour game of British Bulldog and then go home. Because I can't see them playing any actual. We get the odd clip on YouTube of them playing really good five-a-side stuff, which looks great on YouTube, but looks absolute dog shit on a Saturday afternoon at Goodison Park. Just want to track back to something you said there about like the pressing.
Yeah.
For how bad we were the first 3 or 4 games of the season, at least there was an effort there to press and close down. That was non-existent today. It was, I think maybe you could credit Idrissa Gueye for it, because he pressed up when the ball came into midfield. He at least pressed up. I mean, he got skinned about 5 times, but he at least pressed up and tried to force something, whereas nobody else on that pitch pressed, put any sort of pressure on the boy on the ball. And I think that flatters Fulham in that it's allowed them to pass the ball around without any sort of consequence, and they've looked a lot better than they are as a football side. They're not a bad side, Fulham, but they're not a great side. Let's be brutally honest.
They
right?
are 10th, aren't they? Like
Fulham
they are the 10th Premier League team.
The very dictionary definition of a mid-table team. They're not going to pass you off the park, but we've let them today because the effort was lacking, and above all else, when you say this about Everton, even when you get beat, the minimum you expect in the crowd is effort. You want your players to give a shit for 90 minutes, put an effort in, run about, and that wasn't there today. It just wasn't, and as a result, we saw very little of the ball unless it was off the back of a Fulham mistake, which wasn't forced from us, or they've had an effort at goal and it's gone out for a goal kick. So that's a big thing. That's something that he's hopefully going to address. And one thing I will say on that matter is it changed drastically on about 80 minutes when Mangala came on.
Yeah.
And because Doucouré today was an empty jersey. Like, there was no point in him bothering getting out of bed this morning. He did nothing. Mangala came on and we actually started passing the ball around. We looked like at least a competent side, if not a good side. So fingers crossed that's the kick up the arse Sean Dyche needs to make a change for next week and get Doucouré out the 11, get Mangala in that midfield next to Idrissa Gueye.
That's definitely the change I would make. I think Fulham deserve a bit more credit than we're giving them, because They out-pressed us, and they out-fought us and out-thought us. I think Silva had us on toast there, especially with the high line, and their defenders were reading every ball that came forwards. Every time he sent it to Jack Harrison, that big galoot that they had at centre half he'd be there before Harrison had even seen the ball, and he'd just nip it off him. But every time one of our players had the ball in their half, straight away there was 2 Fulham players on them. Like, they completely pressed us off the park. And I'm still at a loss as to how it was only 1-0 when we equalised.
He never fails to make us look eternally stupid, Marco Silva, does he? You know, I think of all the names over the last few years, he is probably, as a percentage of the fan base, he's probably the one who we think, were we a bit trigger happy there?
Yeah, I don't think we were. He was unlucky. He was very unlucky with injuries, but the football was turgid. It was so bad. And let's not beat about the bush. We shipped 5 goals at home to Watford.
That was Benitez.
Was that Benitez?
Benitez, yeah.
Was he gone by then?
Yeah.
No.
That was Benitez
No,
was our
that was
manager.
Silva.
No,
Surely.
Benitez.
Justice
It was
for Marco.
Benitez, yeah. We shipped 5 against Liverpool and he got sacked after that.
I mean, fair enough.
we conceded 5 a lot. It's understandable.
Oh, was it? No,
It wasn't
no.
Benitez.
Sorry, Silva's big home game was the Arsenal one, wasn't it?
No, that was Koeman.
Oh my God!
Marco
Why are you-
Silva never lost a game at Goodison Park.
I'm in a wormhole here with Everton managers. There's been so many bad.
Silva's Nadir at
Goodison
home was
games.
the Norwich 2-0 loss, where that Todd Cantwell scored at the Park End.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Todd the prod.
4 years
Yeah.
ago this week. 3 years ago this week.
Right,
So go
fair
back
enough.
to
Okay,
tonight. Anyway.
I will, right. Let me just put on my record my express apologies for Marco Silva, but he did make me want to put my face on fire and then put it out with an axe.
We were on the bottom 3. We were in the bottom 3 when he got sacked. Yeah.
We were dreadful, and he deserved to be sacked. He was unlucky, but he deserved to be sacked. So I
It's a
don't.
fact check this podcast now.
Oh God,
One
we're
of those
gonna have
moderators on the presidential debates.
Back to our
Honestly.
current shit manager.
Right. Anyway, yeah.
I think the point that Keith and Matt have both interestingly raised, and I think so much is made, and especially this season, about intensity under the lights and all of this romantic nonsense that we talk about at Goodison Park. But I think the pressing that you've both mentioned is integral to that, and I think pressing is so important in the modern game, and so few teams are good at it, because you need to be so organised in order to pull it off effectively. Because if you start pressing and you're not organised, you look like a bunch of headless chickens, and that's why so many teams are scared of doing it. Everton can't press anyone at the moment because our midfield is... I'm going to refrain from saying so bad here, because at least 2 of the lads who started in that midfield 3 tonight are playing out of position, if you ask me. Dwight McNeil he's proved that there is definitely a capability of the lad in the 10 role to pick the ball up centrally, because he's clearly not a great winger, to get on the ball on the half turn and get a shot off on goal and impact games and find key through balls to Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Would you swap him in and die now?
Absolutely not. You do raise the question mark there of is Dwight McNeil the best person for that role? And the reason I bring that up from a pressing point of view is that I think the press is instigated by the top 2. And I don't think you can just say the top 1, because if Dominic Calvert-Lewin's just legging it round like Marcus Bent, that's not pressing, that's just chasing. I think if you've got the best pressing side that we've seen was probably under Frank Lampard, or someone will fact check me on who the manager was.
Do you know what it was? It was
Early Dyche.
I think it was under Silva when we had Calvert-Lewin and Sigurdsson. And those two would hold a good shape.
So you've
and
got,
pressed well off the ball.
Is he still redacted?
but in that situation, the 10 is probably more important than the striker there, because if you've just got the man up top legging round like a dickhead and no one supporting him, the press doesn't work. And the only person in the current squad who is capable of doing that is Abdoulaye Doucouré. And we've all spoken in recent years about, we were meant to have signed this box-to-box player from Watford. He's clearly not a holding midfield player. He's not even a central midfield player. And the idea of him picking the ball up off the back 4 scares me more than someone like Marouane Fellaini doing it. And we found out with Fellaini that the best way to implement the man was to keep him away from the build-up play. and have him in an area of the pitch where he was most effective.
That's what man.
That's
And-
not box to box.
Exactly.
That's
He's not.
antithesis of box to box.
He's not
That's
what we
target
thought.
man.
He's not what we thought we purchased. He's not what we're trying to make him now.
So you want him to be a big galoot up front?
If Abdoulaye Doucouré plays, he has to play right behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin for me. And you know, those two central midfield players, obviously Idrissa Gueye is one of them. Mangala, we saw 12 minutes of tonight. He is 5 times the footballer that Abdoulaye Doucouré ever has
100%.
been. Abdoulaye Doucouré
100%.
passed the ball to someone in the wheelchair in the paddock tonight at one point. I mean,
I got up and went for a pint at that point because I was literally right in front of me, and I seen it, and he was. To be fair to him, it was tight on the touchline. But then he turned round,
was so bad,
and it looked like he was shaping to play up the line, and he just passed it straight out. And I was like, "Yeah, that's me. That's enough of this first half for me. I'm going for a bevy."
But I think
it was
that's
on about
why-
27 minutes.
That's why our midfield looks so poor at the moment, is that there are lads just doing jobs. And, you know, in possession, they are obviously getting bypassed because, as we've all alluded to over recent weeks, as soon as one of our back four gets on the ball, all they are told in training, to answer your question, Matt, is put the ball into channels, put it over the fullback, let Calvert-Lewin chase it, let's see how far up the pitch we can win a throw-in.
Oh, there was so many of them today
From
where we
Ashley
got the
in
ball in
particular.
midfield, and rather than picking the easy 10-yard pass to keep possession and recycle the ball, and even draw Fulham in to try and create a bit of space, they just went, right, I've got the ball. Oh, there's a space behind the fullback. Launch. And it went either out for a throw-in or straight through at the keeper. And what do you achieve by that? Absolutely nothing, because the ball comes straight back at you.
I think my favourite one of them was Tarkowski's free kick in the first half, where he just didn't even look. He was like, I'm going to play this usual ball I played to Mikalenko out on the left, and just went straight through to the goalkeeper.
We
at the park
need to
end.
have a Tarkowski chat, because it's not working right now, and he's supposed to be the club captain, but
Vice captain.
well,
He's team captain at the moment.
he's the captain on the pitch, isn't he? Until Coleman comes back.
Is he the team talk
right?
captain, or is that still Coleman?
Well, Coleman does the half-time team
does the
talks, you
half-time,
revealed. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
What the fuck did he say today?
Let's be honest. He looked good last season alongside Branthwaite. They had a settled partnership, the pair of them, and it was borne out by the fact that Everton conceded something like the 4th fewest goals in the league last season, despite finishing
Second most clean sheets.
16th or whatever, right? This season, he has been dreadful 90% of the games. He's put a foot wrong in at least, 9 out of 10 games, I'd say, this season. 90%. There you go. There you go. The maths works out, right? Have we even played 10 games? I don't know.
I think we're on 9.
Okay, right. I'll tell you what, 8 out of 9, so we're on about 92
And the League Cup
points.
loss as well. We got beat in the League Cup, so I think you probably.
Oh, there you
spot
go.
on
There you go
yeah.
then. Right, we'll have 9 out of 10, right?
What was his good game?
He's been bad. He's been bad. He's not been good this season. Is Branthwaite 100% fit? Obviously, there was a decision to be made today because he was on the bench.
Well, if he came on today, he should be fit next week in theory. shouldn't he?
As
So-
was the lad we paid £20 million for in the summer.
Let's not start about the not the galoot, the galoot to.
That doesn't work in speech.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It looks better in text.
Gaelic.
When we
Gaelic
try
galoot.
the Gaelic galoot.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
galoot.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds dreadful, doesn't it? It sounds very.
You've explained it. It's fine. Yeah.
I've done a big homophobia here.
Right.
It's accidental. It's not intended. Why have we signed him if he's not going to play?
He's Branthwaite's replacement.
So we're going to sit him for a year, as the Americans say, we're going to redshirt him for a year and just let him watch and see what happens.
And learn from Branthwaite, yeah?
What is he watching and learning
This is exactly what
though?
directors of football are meant to do. They're meant to identify players to succeed players who are obviously out on the way out the door, but don't get them in straight after. You get them in a year before, build them into the role, learn his trade at the Finch Farm and that. I've been told he's not exactly setting the world on fire in training, apparently. But even so, like, he's not going to get in.
Forwards.
Yeah, Beto's.
Yeah.
Before anything else, he needs to shave that fucking soul patch off because it's dreadful.
just
He needs to get rid of that.
Like a massively situation in The Simpsons.
Jake,
Dice won't play him because he's got facial
if you're
hair.
listening, either grow a beard or shave that off because it's atrocious, and we won't stand for it.
And if Michael Keane sits you down in training one more time, we're selling you in January.
just there.
Michael Keane is the best forward that Everton have got.
I was going to come on to this. So, speaking of lads doing a job, Sean Dyche has found the antidote to a moody Goodison. The atmosphere was at risk of going really, really toxic there towards the end. And then as soon as McNeil got injured, and you saw Branthwaite run on, and Keane just sprints up the park to the other end.
10 minutes of Michael Keane
The
up.
Gladys lifted. Like, honestly, everyone's mood just went up.
It is crap though, isn't it? Like it
was great.
It is crap.
Mate,
If that's what we're angry at.
I did cringe a lot.
The amount of balls he won, like, it worked.
He did win a great flick.
I've watched Steve Watson play up front for Everton. I am more than happy to give Michael Keane a goal next week up front.
He scored an overhead kick from outside the area. If Michael Keane does that, then I'll forgive O'Brien.
Life contract.
Michael Keane's goal against Spurs.
Yeah, I'll give you
Steve Watson could not do that.
Just like
Steve Watson could never.
that. Steve Watson did that against Leeds.
from the halfway line, didn't against Leeds, yeah. Just on the Keane, I think there was like before we get on to like the actual good stuff about Beto scoring and the lovely scenes at the end. I think there's a conversation now amidst all the madness and verbal missteps Keith made then about Jake O'Brien and Michael Keane. But I think there's a chat now to be had that it's Branthwaite and one of Keane or Tarkowski. I think Keane is playing better at the moment than James Tarkowski. And if you're going to play two of them, and I think Branthwaite has got to come back in because he is our best player. He's the club in the summer said, you're an £80 million asset, you're going nowhere. He plays, and then I think Keane on the right hand side is just playing better. He's offering more from a goal scoring point of view, better on the ball. He's more assured at the moment. I don't know if Tarkowski's like injured or anything at the moment, but like you said,
Apparently the carrying knocks, both of them.
yeah.
But obviously Keane's carrying is better.
Yeah.
If we go with Branthwaite and Keane, who's on team talks?
Who's captain then?
Youngo.
Yeah,
Youngo.
The point that I'd make about centre halves is that if you're going to play Keane and Tarkowski, you don't play out from the back. And why? Tonight was probably I don't know if it's the first time we've really hammered home on that tactic, or the first time I've noticed it where we've gone short at every available opportunity. I want to see us playing out from the back, and I want to see Everton playing good football, but do I think that Sean Dyche is the right man to implement that? Absolutely not. If we are buying into this working in any way, which for most people's money means Sean Dyche getting Everton to the 40-point mark, then play Sean Dyche football. And I won't resent the man for being incredibly one-dimensional.
Full on Brexit ball. 4-4 fucking 2.
That's what he is.
Long ball.
That's what
Big
he is.
man,
Isn't it?
little man up front.
And if you sink to the point where you have to employ someone like that as your manager, then you take your medicine, in my mind, in that you have to play to the Sean Dyche tune of going direct.
But remember, he protects the V. It's a very big thing with
I still
Sean
don't
Dyche.
know what that means.
He loves to protect the V.
Yeah,
like as far as I can see from that, what he's protecting is he's protecting against victory, because that's the only thing I can see from it.
If opposition wingers keep getting time and time again in behind that particular V, then defending it isn't going to do much.
I have never seen a Premier League team more exposed to the long crossfield ball to a winger because your fullback is stood in the middle of the pitch. Right?
And
it happens every single fucking week with Everton. Right? Does not matter who the team are playing is, does not matter how bad the winger is. Every single week, that long ball from the centre half to the winger, and our fullback is stood on on the D in the box.
Yeah.
And he watches it drift over, and then he'll trot out and try and stop the cross, right?
How about that?
Just
V,
be
though?
there. just be there.
We need to
right?
find a wider letter to protect.
The problem is-
protect the W instead.
The V.
Get a bit more
The
horizontal.
V is very well protected. The V is like, nobody is penetrating that V. But the problem is, everything's moved past the V. Right? Fucking hell. Right. Do you remember what I said at the start of the pod about not involving lawyers? I think we're gonna have to get them in, right? Every single time. And for me, the only thing that comes up every single time is that video of, it's your man, Sidibe, for fuck's sake, get over. That is our fullbacks in a fucking nutshell. Every single game. And it pains me. It's horrible to watch because you can see it coming. You can see it coming a mile away.
Think we can get him back?
Still putting his shitties on the
He's not got his socks on.
Yeah.
He's cutting about barefoot somewhere.
Right.
Anyway, right.
Defend the sideways eye.
Right.
Let's be positive.
Beto, bless him,
Let's be
came
positive.
on.
Yes.
There was a lot of grumbling by me, to be honest. A few boos when I think people wanted Dice to go 2 up top. Ultimately, it was 2 up top with Keane and Beto. I mean, I'm mad. But he got his moments. Mose, you were saying, harking back to memories of Dennis Strakolersi crying after a goal against Fulham in the League Cup at the end. But a nice moment for him anyway. I mean, I don't know what kind of future he's got here, whether he's going to play much, but he was there, he headed it in. And
Nobody's signing him, let's be honest.
I'll celebrate his goals, but he's crap.
Yes.
And you know, we're never gonna resent Everton scoring a goal in any situation. But yeah, he's absolutely undies, unfortunately. I mean, if I scored the goal for Everton, I'd probably be quite emotional. This lad's a professional footballer. He's just shouldered one in against Fulham at home to earn a point, and we're meant to see it as some
Did it
form
come
of
off
like.
his shoulder?
I'm gonna say he's nasty. I don't know that for certain.
Ed's put it magnificently in the chat, hasn't he? A lot of time for a professional striker for a Premier League club to be crying about breaking his goal duck in an injury-free season at the end of October. Shout out to Ed on that because he's absolutely nailed it.
He's frustrated because he wants to play more for Sean Dyche.
I want to give him a bit more credit.
Stockholm syndrome.
It is a nice move. I mean,
He's absolutely rotten, let's be
But
honest.
he came
He's
on
a nice
and,
lad,
like,
and he
he-
runs around a lot, and he sort of bashes into people. He's a very Mario Kart type striker, right?
I've ever heard
He'll
that.
just bash people out the way,
Before.
and that's his thing, right? And
just throwing
fair
green
play to
towel
him.
shells everywhere.
He was in the right position today, and he's done
Stayed
us a
on
massive
side.
favour because let's be honest, if he hadn't got that goal, this podcast might have been quite feral.
And it's only been
Whereas it's only been
It's at its low point.
it's only been marginally feral tonight, right? So fair play to him. Like Mo said, we'll celebrate his goals, but he's crap and he's not the answer. And I'd rather have Michael Keane up front.
We'll always have Doncaster.
He scored 2 against Fulham now. He scored against them late on in the League Cup, didn't he? Before Onana's infamous penalty.
Was it down at Craven Cottage where he missed a sitter late
Yeah,
on?
it was, yeah.
Yeah,
He's
so
not-
his goal doesn't count tonight.
Didn't he miss 2? He missed 2
I mean,
in that
he missed
game.
one.
I'm
I
sure
can't
he missed
remember
2.
them, but
Who was the
Beto.
manager?
But shout out to Youngo.
Youngo, yeah.
What a cross. That's 3 assists in 4 games for him now, I think, as well.
Yeah, rolling back the years. I mean, we did joke last week when the team came out that we had 3 right backs on the bench and Ashley Young at right back, but he's earning that spot. Like, he's not getting skinned. He's playing with his head. He's playing like an experienced. No, but he's playing like an experienced player should be. He knows he's never ever going to win a foot race, so he's staying back 4 or 5 yards, and he got done a couple of times today, but it didn't really cost us much. And he's going to be targeted by every single team, obviously because of his age. But no, I think he's very much good value for his starting berth at the moment. And that cross, I mean, I'm not sure if it stayed in or what, but I'm going to say it did. Like, we've been missing that. Like,
He's definitely stayed there. Yeah.
we're not getting them crosses in from Jack Harrison, or even on the other side from like Ndai. I mean, he's more likely to sort of cut in and try and shoot himself and die. But obviously, player like Young, very unselfish. Just do a little chip cross.
I think he's.
I'm I'm going to shout out. I'm going to shout out Julie Hobb, 1878 here, who has said, "Love the way Ashley Young knows that we overhit our crosses. Perfectly positioned with his assist."
he was
about 10 yards back from where he should have been, but he knew it was coming there.
He's probably the only one in the squad with the assurance to know that he can control that ball back into a dangerous area. I think, as you said, Matt, I can think of most of our players who might find themselves in that situation, who try and bring that down or cut inside or
with a corner.
Yeah, absolutely. Or come back to, I appreciate he was the right back tonight, but come back to someone in more of a central midfield role and try and whip one in. He's the only one in our squad potentially who, with a difficult high ball, he is able to control that back into an area where you might find someone in a dangerous position. He had an incredibly quiet game tonight, I thought, like most of our players did, and I think defensively there wasn't too many times. I think I wake up in cold sweats at night being a Park End sitter of watching our right back getting skinned consistently in front of opposition fans, but there really wasn't any of that tonight. But I think that Seamus Coleman, Nathan Patterson, they probably aren't able to do something like that. Yeah. So for all of his flaws, there is still some form of technical ability there, which we might as well dine out on for one night.
We need to drag Nathan Patterson away from the all-you-can-eat buffet. Have you seen the fucking size of him? He's huge.
And we're back in.
I've always been on the weights. But
Nathan Patterson.
The thing I'll say about Young is,
can O'Brien not mention that if you're still listening?
the thing I'll say about Young is, like, if you're playing Everton at the moment, you're targeting Mikalenko over him.
100%.
Like, I thought he really struggled again tonight. And it wasn't like Traore rinsed him everywhere. He just made bad decision after bad decision.
He does that against fullbacks, though, doesn't he? Like,
he's one disgusting baby oil pervert, that Traore. Honest to God, there needs to be some sort of rule brought in about baby oiling yourself before you go on the pitch. For the love of God. It's not acceptable.
How old is he now as well?
I know, he's in his 30s. He's in his 30s. And he doesn't even do it himself. He gets the kit man to oil him up before the game. It's like that Simpsons scene with, what's his name, groundskeeper Willie, when he says, "Lunch lady Doris, have you any grease? Well, grease me up, woman." That's what he's like. Grow the fuck up.
Who's the bigger baddie, the oiler or the oily?
The pair of them need investigating.
Oh, God.
Which is a very good note to wind this down on, I think.
I think we're going to end it there. Unbelievable.
The baby oil pervert strikes again.
Yeah. All right.
Toffees.
Off the toffees indeed. Cheers to Keith, Mose and Matt. That has been your instant reaction for Everton 1, Fulham 1. Be careful out there.
I love when he can't finish. Because he's laughing too much.
Be careful out there. Watch out for baby oil off the toffees.